Hi, I'm Karen.
And I'm Renee, and welcome to thebakingshow.com. Today we're going to make a bread recipe, and it is called an egg twist bread. And this is a really old recipe. It was my grandmother's. For all I know, my great-grandmother's. And because this recipe is so old, they didn't have bread flour back then. So when I was updating it, I tried the bread flour with it, and it came out a little bit dense. So what is a happy medium is to take half bread flour and half regular all-purpose flour. So that's what we're going to do. So how about we get to the ingredients? We have 2 cups of warm water, which would be between 100 and 105 degrees. We have 4½ teaspoons of yeast, or 2 packages if you're using that way. We have a pinch of sugar, which we're going to put in to proof the yeast. Then we have 4 teaspoons of salt. We have a 1/4 cup of melted butter, 2/3 cup sugar, and 3 slightly beaten eggs. And then there should be 8 cups of flour, but because we're in a higher altitude, we only use 7.
So the idea then would be just to use as much flour as you need to get the right consistency.
Absolutely.
Right.
So we're going to start out, we're going to take the rest of the ingredients and just dump them in the bowl. And we're going to use the paddle attachment first, because it's going to be really soupy.
Okay.
And then we're going to add
dry and liquid ingredients all go in, huh?
Right.
Okay.
Everything goes in there.
Great.
Putting in the sugar, the salt, the eggs, and the butter.
All at once. There you go.
All right. Then we're going to mix this puppy up.
So Renee, is the yeast ready?
The yeast is proofed. It's nice and foamy. So now we've added all the other ingredients in here except for the flour. We're going to add the yeast. We're going to beat it up a little bit, and then we're going to add the flour. All right, so we've added the yeast, and now we're just going to beat it. We're just going to incorporate it. So we're going to beat it in a bit. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to add the flour. Let me pop this up to make it easier for you, Karen.
Okay.
And we're going to add, this has 4 cups of bread flour and 3 cups of all-purpose flour, because it comes out lighter.
So what's the difference between bread flour and regular flour?
Bread flour is just stronger, and it's it makes things, has more protein in it.
Okay.
All right, so then what we're going to do with the 4 cups here, we're going to close this up. Okay, and we're going to beat this and just get it.
So it's almost the consistency of cookie dough.
Yeah, right about. And right about now, I would stop it, and then I'd change to the dough hook. Great.
Okay, looks like it's done.
Yeah, we didn't want to put you guys through 3 to 5 minutes of the winding of the machine, so we just mixed it up. This is basically what it looks like when it's done. It has a nice, nice consistency.
Elastic.
Elastic. That's a good word.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of soft, like your tip. We have the earlobe.
Like your earlobe.
Yeah. Now we're just going to take this. We're going to put it in the bowl with some oil in it. I use just vegetable oil, corn oil, any oil will do. Put it in, and then you want to make sure that you turn it a little bit and then flip it over, because you don't want the top of it to dry out. You're going to cover it, and we're going to let it rise.
Okay, my favorite part now. It's risen, so we're ready to go.
All right, this dough has a full rise. It goes all the way to the top of the bowl, and if anybody has looked at our stromboli recipe, you'll notice that that one only rolls a little bit. They're just different types of doughs.
Right.
So now we're going to take this, we're going to pop it out onto the board, and what we're going to do is just cut it in half.
Love it.
You can use a knife, you can use, I just happen to have a bench knife, so we just cut it in half.
One of the best tools in the kitchen.
Yeah, it's really nice if you're working with dough. Then we're going to take each half, and we're going to cut it into 3 sections.
Okay. Do you have to be precise with this?
Nah, just kind of eyeball it. All right, and then with each one of these sections, we're going to roll it into a log shape.
So I can help?
Sure. So just put it down on the board or your counter. You don't need a board. And you're going to make the logs about the size of your hand, maybe a little bit bigger.
Okay.
All right, so we just lay these out like this. This is the fun part.
I know, I love it. I like being a kid again. Huh?
And then once we get all 3 of these rolled out, we're going to braid them together like pigtails.
Okay, Renee, are there tips here for the braiding that we have to be careful of anything, or?
Not really, it's just kind of like braiding pigtails. This is like the fun part of this. So you're going to take the ends and you're just going to kind of bush them all together this way.
Okay.
And then you're going to take each strand and we're just going to braid. We're going to alternate. And you want to make sure that they're kind of tight. Okay. Here, over here, this way, and it comes out to a beautiful looking braid. You're going to look like a professional. And you want to make sure that the ends are kind of mushed together, and then you just tuck them under the loaf. And your loaf comes out looking like this. You take a regular sized bread pan, and it's already sprayed. You can use butter or you can use like a Pam, and you just pop her in.
That's it, huh?
That's it.
Beautiful.
This recipe makes 2 loaves, so now we're going to braid the second one.
Renee, I noticed that you're using a different technique from what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of pulling and stretching, but you're expanding it as you go out to the sides.
Oh, yeah, I kind of do that. You just roll it back towards you, and then your hands come out sideways.
Beautiful.
And it stretches it as it goes back. And but really, any way you roll it is fine as long as it comes into a log shape.
Beautiful.
Aren't they? And it doesn't take hardly any work at all. Anybody can do this. Our 2 loaves are done now. They're braided. They're in the prepared pan. We're going to cover them. You can cover them with a towel, cover them with plastic wrap, whatever you want to do. And it's going to take about, 45 minutes. You let it rise. And it should reach the top or a little bit over the top of the pan. So we're just going to cover it and let it rise. Okay, now here's the breads after the rise. Aren't they gorgeous or what? They come up nice and high. And this is going to make you look like a professional. It's just so easy to do, and the bread is just so easy to put together. There's nothing to be afraid of. Now this, you want to put an egg wash on it. Just take an egg, beat it up, and then just brush it lightly on the bread, and this will give it a nice sheen when it comes out of the oven. You can also put poppy seeds on top, or sesame seeds. That also gives it a nice topping.
And do you have to do this step? Is this just for looks, or is it? Is there any reason necessarily to do the egg wash?
You do the egg wash because otherwise the bread comes out looking really dull.
Oh, okay.
If you have the egg wash, you'll have a nice little shiny finish. It helps it brown better, and it's going to give it a nice golden color, and it's going to look very rustic. Now you're going to bake these breads in a 350 oven for about 40 to 45 minutes. The way
That's a
you
long
tell,
time.
it is, and the way you tell if it's done is you can knock on it, which I don't know what that tells you, but that's what they used to tell. Oh, it's not done, it sounds hollow, it's good. Or the best way to do it is to put an internal thermometer in, and if it's between 181 to 185, even if it goes a little above that, you're still good because bread, you can get a little crustier. It's done.
So they're done?
They're done. See, now that's what the egg wash does. Look at this beautiful brown color.
Just look at the shape of the bread. It is just.
And the twist gives it a nice look.
Yes.
And voila. And it makes wonderful toast in the morning. Fabulous French toast. And just great to eat.
And it's a little showy.
Yeah. So for the recipe, go to thebakingshow.com and it'll be posted there. Enjoy.